The meeting is now live.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, colleagues, and welcome to the February meeting of Cabinet, which I think is our second but last. March will be our last one. So, yeah, we've only got this one and the March one to go, which is both exciting and saddening in equal measures. So, are there any apologies for absence?
No, Chairman, everyone's present and correct, so no apologies.
Good, thank you. Any declarations of interest? None? And the minutes of the last meeting, they start on page 5 of the main pack, page 6, 7, that's the public minutes, and then there was an exempt minute on page 9. So are we all agreed that they are a true and accurate record and I can sign them as such? Any against? That's carried. Thank you. The minutes are approved. I will sign them, Tash, and post them into the office. I've printed them off, so I'll sign them once we're done, and then
Thank you.
post them through. So, item 4, Chairman's announcements. I don't think I have any other than this is what we were just saying before we came on. There's a new set of regulations have come out in order to help with elections. They're definitely happening on the 6th of May, but the number of people that we now need for anybody who's standing for election has been reduced from the 10 as the proposer, seconder, and 8 as centres to 2, which I think is proposer and seconder as it currently is for parish councils. And that's a special provision that will last, I think, until next April. And the Police and Crime Commissioner has been reduced also, which I think is 2 per constituent council area. But whether that's when nominations open or when nominations close, I'm still awaiting an answer of my question. That's really all I have for now. Item 5, report of the scrutiny group into section 106 contributions. Who's going to start with this one?
I think that's probably me, Chair.
Okay. Thanks, Jo.
Okay, thank you. So the Scrutiny Committee set up a subgroup to look into Section 106 contributions relating to health. They wanted to gain a comprehensive understanding of the actual health-related Section 106 contributions that were held or were in the pipeline relating to South Northants District, and how projects could get approved for investment, and then how that delivery of those projects would work through. We wanted to get an increased level of engagement and joint working both at a strategic level and operational level between SNC and health partners. We wanted to get a better understanding of the clinical commissioning group, their plans for investment and service delivery, and understand how they made their decisions around that. And then out of all of that, we hoped that we would come out with a plan and make some proposals for future working arrangements. So the group met 6 times over a period of roughly 5 or 6 months. And also alongside those working group meetings, the Chief Executive and the GP Chair of the CCG attended Scrutiny Committee on the 1st of December. So the outputs of this work, we've now got a comprehensive list of the Section 106 contributions relating to health, which is attached to Appendix A. We did gain a better understanding of how the investment decisions in health services and facilities happens. And this was provided at the Scrutiny Committee that the CCG colleagues attended. I think it's worth highlighting that they've completed a piece of work where they've looked at all of their properties and they've had building condition surveys done, and they do have modelling in terms of need and future population growth, and they take all of those factors into account when they're making decisions for service delivery and investment. And they did make the point that although some of the funds that we're dealing with seem quite large amounts of money, actually in the overall scheme of the amount of funding that you need to deliver new health facilities, especially the ongoing revenue funding, then quite significant external funding from other sources was required to get schemes up and running. So you will see there in the report that there were some key projects that the working group wanted an update on and wanted to progress, and we have made some progress on some of these projects, and the current position on these is outlined within the report. So then at section 4 of the report, you've got some recommendations there outlined in terms of having concluded all of the work as a working group. The scrutiny working group has then made some recommendations to the scrutiny committee in terms of how they would like the new unitary authority to work with health partners moving forward. And you will see those outlined at 4.1. Scrutiny committee have received this report and they wanted it to be referred to Cabinet this evening. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? No. Sorry, Janet.
Bottom of the appendix, payments to parish councils. There's 2 for Silverstone for improvement of facilities. I couldn't make out, is that for health related or is that other S106 monies?
In the in the appendix, that is just health related section 106 contributions.
Okay, so I'm on the parish council at Silverstone, so I declare an interest in that respect. But what are we supposed to do with it then? Because the health surgery is privately owned one by the local doctor. So how's that administered and how do we know it's correctly applied?
Okay, so Tracy Hill in our planning team is the key operational point of contact between ourselves and the CCG. So if there is an amount set aside for Silverstone and we're not making those links, then I'm happy to take that forward with Tracy and we can have a 3-way dialogue between ourselves, the CCG and the Silverstone practice.
So I think you're on mute, Janet.
Sorry, my bar's not working. Yeah, we've got parish council meeting tonight. I'll ask the chairman and clerk if they're aware of it, of what's happening with that, because it's quite a large sum of money. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Or can I sort of place my thanks on the record to the scrutiny committee and the subgroup and the officers and Steve, who supported them from the cabinet point of view, because this is a really good piece of work and it sort of sets out quite, you know, I know they say in the general scheme of hundreds of millions of billions of pounds that the health service managed to get their way through in the course of a year. Some of these sums might look pretty trivial, but nonetheless they are what we've managed to negotiate from developers, and they are big amounts. I was quite struck by looking at the appendix, you know, the amounts that have actually been paid over as well, but there's still some meaty sums that haven't been paid over, and it would be a crying shame if under the terms of those 106 agreements that money couldn't get spent or had to be returned to developers, because often it can't be rehomed in another project if it says for, you know, the local health services, then that's the only purpose it can be put to. But I was particularly struck about the amount that we'd managed through bits here and bits there to get to Brackley new health centre. That was quite good, because trying to tot them up 100 grand here and 50 grand there, and suddenly I think you might be talking real money. So I'm sure that the Brackley Health Centre will appreciate the fact that we have, as a council, been looking out for them. And one of the other things, which I think some of the key recommendations here are that let's keep that momentum up. Let's not allow the as we move into West Northants, let's not allow that work that we've actually done to create those links with health and actually get a deeper understanding of what the other side of the fence are up to. Let's not have that work just been done in vain just in the dying days of this council. So hopefully we can pick up that key recommendation and move forward. I'm just looking for the recommendations of so anyone else wish to speak on it? So I'll move then that we recommend that we note the work completed by the Scrutiny Committee Working Group and to endorse the recommendations made by the Scrutiny Committee Working Group and to forward those recommendations to the Scrutiny Committee Working Group and the new West Northants Authority to inform future working arrangements and the transformation programme. So are we agreed? Any against? That is carried, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the future arrangements for the public utilities in Brackley and Towcester. Shall we be going to our toilet czar?
Well, I think I was going to do this one.
Oh, you're going to do it, okay.
Yeah. Okay. The report covers the future arrangements for various public amenities in the towns of Brackley and Towcester and asks agreement to various investments, contracts and asset transfers. 3 items are included. Firstly, to approve the sale of the freehold interest in Towcester Town Hall to Towcester Town Council at the full assessed market value of £6,334. Secondly, to approve the refurbishing and reopening of the public toilets in the Spon Arcade, subject to the approval of capital funding by full council, hopefully later this month. Also, to lease the toilet block to Towcester Town Council for a period of 15 years at a token ground rent of £1 a year, including in that they will take control of the operation and financial responsibilities and the ongoing maintenance of those toilets for the duration of the lease. In addition, to agree the sale of the toilet building to Brackley. Sorry, got me things mixed up there. And the third one is the refurbishing of the existing public toilets in the Marketplace Brackley, again subject to approval of capital funding by full council. These 3 items will preserve important public amenities in our 2 market towns as we move towards our unitary future. Selling the freehold of the town hall at the full assessed market value to Towcester Town Council will secure this focal point in the town centre for generations to come, and it is the focus for many community activities in the town. Refurbishing and opening the Spon Arcade public conveniences will further support both community life and in particular the shopping offering of our independent traders. It is part of the wider programme of works on the former co-op sites which the council bought last year and secured for the foreseeable future free parking for shoppers. This will provide a great asset to the town, supporting businesses at the centre of our community. SNC, as the new owners, have already cleared the overgrown vegetation and have the lights replaced so that it feels much safer, and plans are well in hand for landscaping as well as the installation of electric charging points. Brackley Town Council have for some time wanted the toilet block in the centre of the town refurbished, as they provide a much needed facility not only for residents using the local shops but also for people travelling through the town as they are located next to the bus stops. I therefore propose the recommendations en bloc, including in the report with the associated delegated authorities. That is for the sale of the town hall, the refurbishment and leasing of the toilet blocks in Towcester, and the sale and refurbishment of the toilets in Brackley. Thank you.
Peter Holt, do you want to say anything on that one?
No, Councillor Rawlinson, I think, has covered all of this. It does provide a sustainable future for these facilities and roots them very much in the communities that they serve.
Yeah, you didn't cover off our thanks to you for all the work that you've done. I might have flippantly said our toilets are, but I do know that you have been doing a lot of work on getting all of these assets open sorted. And as always, whenever you deal with, or whenever we as a council tend to deal with property, it's never straightforward. There's always all sorts of strange and wonderful things that we have to try and sort out in addition. So thank you, Peter, for all you've done to actually sort these bits out.
Yes, it looked like at one stage it was going to get very, very complicated, and the only people that were going to profit from that were the lawyers. But Peter managed to find a very pragmatic way through to actually make these things happen.
Good. Phil?
Yeah, I was just going to echo that, because Peter written a few reports have been absolutely excellent and cut through all the rubbish, and they've been so easy to follow, and even I know what various things mean now that I did no idea before. So he's made the process great, and I think both towns will benefit from it. Thank you, Peter.
Andrew?
Thank you, Chairman. I just really want to say this is again another fantastic news for Towcester and Brackley, and a great legacy that South Northamptonshire Council is being able to pass on to the communities for the future enjoyment and benefits within the towns that they represent. And SNC have done many things, and quite timely. We're often criticised, and people don't understand the bigger picture. And we came to Moat Lane, and we took that on, and people resented that. We built Springfields. We got the overage there. We've used that money on the Spon Arcade. The toilets closed years ago, and we obviously were never going to reopen them in the current climate as it was then. And now here we are with another car parking to be sorted out, a building to be demolished, a town hall which basically should give Towcester, if they've got the ability to want to be forward thinking, to mirror what Brackley did with theirs, and look to find the funding for grants and that, because it is a very, very special building. Needs some money spending on it, but it also needs people to come up and actually find the best way of changing the inside to make it really fit for purpose. And it can be done, but it's down to people that want to lead it. And I'm sure if the will was there now in the future, that I'm sure some of the people in Brackley would be very happy to pass on some of their knowledge and expertise that they used. Because that building has been there for quite some time. It's grade 2 listed. It's not going to disappear. It's a focal point of the A5, and it's a great benefit to the town, but it comes with it obviously some cost, and I think it's down to the town council to realise that they have the opportunity, if they wish to do something significant in that building, and start making applications for the various granting bodies that are there to come up with a plan and a business case to really enhance it. But I think the Spon Arcade is a very special opportunity, and certainly with Brackley as well, knowing that as well as I do when I was a councillor in Brackley for the county, this again is a great news story, Chairman, and hopefully we can take the opportunity to give that the vocal thing both in the local press at the appropriate time, which should be now, and hopefully when full council approves the capital, which I'm sure it will do, to enable the Towcester toilets to go ahead. So great report, well done to all the officers. I know it's always difficult when we have these negotiations, but I think we've got an excellent outcome, and I'm really delighted that everything that we seem to be doing at the moment is coming to fruition. So thanks to everybody for what you've done. It's a really good news story. Thank you, Jim.
Chairman?
Yeah, Chairman. Who's responsible for the costs for the transfer of ownership to Towcester Town Hall? Should we all agree on it?
I can perhaps help with that one, Chairman. We'll meet our legal costs, although we're using our in-house lawyer, so there won't be any money leaving the building. And Towcester Town Council will use their normal conveyancing solicitor and pick up the costs at their end.
What about survey costs? Are they required before the sale is agreed or the transfer agreed?
we're not requiring a survey. If out of due diligence, Toaster Town Council decide that they require one, then they would pick up the cost. But they're already the leaseholder on a long-term lease, and they already have a repairing responsibility. So their understanding of the liabilities of their building should already be quite deep.
Okay.
Any other comments on this? Okay, so I'll move. Well, Peter has moved the recommendations to, hang on. So to approve the sale of the freehold interest in Toaster Town Council, freehold interest in the Town Hall at the full assessed market of 6334, and to delegate to the Assistant Chief Executive in consultation with the portfolio holder for planning and finance, performance and governance, the sale of freehold to the Town Council, to approve the refurbishment and reopening to the general public of the toilets in the Spawn Arcade car park, and again to delegate to Peter the necessary powers to do whatever needs to be done, and the Marketplace toilets to approve the refurbishment of the existing public toilets in Marketplace, subject to the approval of the capital funding by full council, and again to delegate to Peter in consultation with the planning and finance, performance and governance, the sale of the public toilets in Brackley for £1, and then capital funds to delegate to the Assistant Chief Executive that he can authorise to let and manage the refurbishment contract. So are we all agreed? Any against? That is carried. Thank you. So we've just mentioned the revised capital programme. So item 7, revised capital programme, Peter Rawlinson.
Okay, thank you. Now that you've agreed to it, I can tell you how much it costs. This report highlights a number of changes to our capital programme and asks that Cabinet recommend these to full council at our meeting at the end of this month. 3 new projects are included, but through reprofiling and underspends, no additional funding is required for the revised capital programme. 3 new projects are 216,000 for the Toaster Watermeadows project. We've reassessed the project as it's not proved possible to progress heritage lottery funding in the timescales available. And in order to preserve other external funding opportunities, plans have been altered and additional funding made available from existing biodiversity and S106 grants. Toaster Toilets is going to need 140,000 as we look to bring back the public convenience into the use for the first time in 10 years as part of the wider redevelopment of the co-op site. This will be funded through 106 agreements for Toaster Town Centre and underspends. And the third project is the refurbishment of the Brackley toilets that requires 140,000. That will be funded from Brackley's Town Centre S106 fund. Various other small variations on other projects to bring the capital programme into good shape for the year end and ready for our move to being a unitary council at the end of next month. And I therefore propose the recommendations contained in the report be approved of the capital, revisions of the capital programme that are detailed in Appendix 1 and recommend that this revised programme be recommended to the full council for approval later this month. Thank you.
Any comments? Martin, have you got anything to say on this? Are you Denise tonight, by the way?
Denise tonight, yeah. And no comments. I'm happy with the report. Thanks, Chair.
Any comments on it, or are we just happy and it's self-explanatory?
Yeah, self-explanatory and funded primarily through Section 106 contributions from Brackley and Toaster, so all covered off in that respect. So happy on the financial side of it and generally in relation to it.
Yes. Okay, so we have the recommendation moved. All in favour? Any against? That's carried. Thank you. So item 8 then, quarterly performance risk and finance monitoring. And we have the full report for this today, not just the variations. So Peter, do you want to introduce this again?
Yep, thank you. This report is our regular quarterly monitoring report at the end of quarter 3. Now, as you would expect, our performance has been impacted by COVID-19, and some of the key performance exceptions are council tax collection continues to improve, and at the end of December we had collected 85.53% against a target of 86% at this point in the year. And that shortfall equates to approximately £328,000, which is a significant decrease on last month's, and recovery action in a sensitive way is in progress. And I think given the amount of work our Revs and Bens people are having to do at the moment, acting as the agents for the government bank, you know, that is a really good performance. Likewise, business rate collection is down about 14%, but again, this is to be expected with the current trading restrictions, but we are proactively chasing all debts by phone and email. During the last quarter, 96 applications for housing were received and 75% assessed to determine eligibility and qualification. This is lower than target, the target of 20 days, but involve cases that are far more complex and require further investigation. Planning applications for non-major developments are below target for December, but on target for the year so far. 62% of our non-major applications were determined within time against a target of 70% last month. Delivering a range of affordable homes was on target for the last quarter, but below target for the year so far. And during quarter 3, 19 new affordable homes were delivered in Brackley, Towcester and Wootton Fields. The leadership risks remain under control as action continues to be taken to mitigate risks, including additional actions responding to COVID-related pressures. And the leadership risk register is shown in Appendix 3 and now shows specific actions taken in respect of those COVID pressures. Financially, in spite of the COVID situation, the financial performance remains creditably strong, and our latest forecasts indicate an outturn of 135,000 underspend, despite the additional pressures caused by the pandemic. This is a minor change of 39,000 less than the previous month's figures. As is prudent, this is a realistic estimate, but we've also been modelling best and worst case scenarios, which show a range of potential outcomes of an overspend of 457,000 to an underspend of 445,000. And there are various funding streams we are applying for, which, if successful, may improve the situation further. And finally, in this report, there's a quarterly update on complaints. Broadly, the number of complaints is similar to last year, although more appear to be reaching stage 2. Details of the complaints and learning points are in the appendix. So all I need to do in conclusion is propose that we note the monthly performance risk and finance monitoring report. Thank you very much.
Jeff?
Nothing to add, Chairman. The report sets out the performance and exceptions from the last quarter. What I would say, Chairman, is that for the next Cabinet meeting, we are proposing to bring forward a report that celebrates the outstanding performance across the vast majority of performance indicators this year.
Okay, I thought we were going to be doing that this one as well. Sorry, Richard, do you want to come in?
Nothing further to add, Chair. Exactly as Jeff said, we'll bring forth that report to the next meeting.
Yeah, no, because I know we do have some really good, that despite everything that's been thrown at us over the past year, the teams have held up remarkably well, and a lot of the business as usual has been, well, business as usual. So it is extremely important that we do acknowledge that and formally put it in the record and express our thanks to the teams across the whole of the council that have delivered in spite and despite of what has been thrown at them. So yeah, it is important that we do recognise that, Richard.
Yeah, I suppose, Chair, quite rightly, we sort of manage by exception throughout the year, and I think it's just opportunity just to recognise some of the more positive sort of measures over the last sort of 12 months or so. So I thought that was why we were bringing forth the report for next time.
Okay. And Martin, you happy with everything?
Yeah, I'm happy, Chairman, and nothing further to add from me.
Okay. Cabinet colleagues, anything else to add? Can we just note the report? Agreed? Any against? No. So, item 9 is urgent business, of which there is none. So I will close the meeting at 18.